Hello, my friend, and welcome to Wisdom Trek. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, your guide to wisdom and creating a living legacy. Thank you for joining us for our 5-day-per-week Wisdom and Legacy Building podcast. This is day 406 of our trek, and today is Wisdom Wednesday. Every Wednesday along life's trail, we will dig for the nuggets of wisdom that are found in the book of Proverbs. Today, we will explore the first half of chapter 16. We are broadcasting from our studios at Home 2 in Charlotte, North Carolina. The day that this episode is released, Paula and I will be heading to Atlanta and then on to Scottsdale, Arizona to work for a few days with our partners on our construction project in Mesa. Even with our ability to do most of the financial work remotely for the Arizona project, it is always great to be on site for a few days to catch up on the project details and then to plan for the next few months. We're really looking forward to it. It does require a lot of wisdom, insight, and understanding to handle the details of the various companies that we work with, and there is no better source for wisdom, for business, and for life than the book of Proverbs. On our check for today, we will dig into verses 1 through 16 of chapter 16, and the title for today's verse is taken from verse 16, and it is, How Much Better to Get Wisdom Than Gold. So let's start right in with verse 1. We can make our own plans, but the Lord gives us the right answer. You do need to be responsible and plan, but you also need to consider God's precepts in all the plans that you make. God gives you the guidelines in His Word to make the correct plans if you are willing to study and apply those guidelines to your life. Verse number 2. People may be pure in their own eyes, but the Lord examines their motives. We as humans have been given free will and have the capability to rationalize and justify just about any type of behavior, good or bad. The more you know, understand, and apply God's Word to your lives, the closer your motives will be in line with God's principles. God knows your motives, even when it is difficult to discern them for yourselves. Verse number 3. Commit your actions to the Lord, and your plans will succeed. When you truly commit your plans and action steps to God, they will succeed. The caveat that many of us miss is that these plans and actions have to be in line with God's precepts found in His Word. Too many times we want God to help us to succeed with our plans, but we do not follow those precepts. You must know His Word to understand His principles. Verse number 4. The Lord has made everything for His own purpose, even the wicked for the day of disaster. Now this verse is hard for us to understand why a just and holy God would seemingly make something that is wicked. To understand it properly, you have to understand that God created everyone with a free will. We can choose to follow His Word or not. Those who choose not to are choosing to be made into that which is wicked. The opposite is also true, though. If you choose to follow His Word, you are made righteous and just through His Son. Verse number 5. The Lord detests the proud, they will surely be punished. Pride is one of the most grievous sins because when you are proud, you lose your dependency on God and desire to usurp what belongs to God. Because of this, if you do not humble yourself, you will suffer the consequences of your pride. Verse number 6. Unfailing love and faithfulness make atonement for sin. By fearing the Lord, people avoid evil. This verse is twofold. God's love and faithfulness to you completely annuls your sin as if you do not have any. In the same way, when you unconditionally love others and are faithful to them, then you overlook sin in their lives and you are much more forgiving with them. Along with this thought, if you respect and love God, you will do all you can to avoid acts that are contrary to His Word. Verse number 7. When people's lives please the Lord, even their enemies are at peace with them. One of the sure signs of a wise and understanding person who lives according to God's principles is that they will not be contentious with others. They will not be pompous or self-righteous, but live in such a manner that even with those who don't like them, will be respectful of them. Verse number 8. Better to have little with godliness than to be rich and dishonest. While we all desire to have wealth, money and possessions are not what makes us truly wealthy. There's nothing wrong with having this wealth, but it is much better to have less and follow God's principles than to violate those principles in order to gain money and possessions. Verse number 9. We can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. Now this verse is very similar to the first verse of this chapter. You do need to be responsible and plan, but you need to also consider God's precepts in all the plans that you do make. When you do this, God will ultimately guide you in the situations and circumstances that He desires for your lives. Verse number 10. The king speaks with divine wisdom. He must never judge unfairly. A godly leader will gain his wisdom from God. His advisors will also be wise people, providing the leader with sage advice. When doing so, all decisions will be fair, right, and just. Verse number 11. The Lord demands accurate scales and balances. He sets the standards for fairness. God is just in all his ways. In business and in life, we need to make sure that all of our transactions and interactions with others are fair and balanced. God's standards for fairness are true and always accurate. Verse number 12. The king detests wrongdoing, but his rule is built on justice. A good and godly leader should abhor actions within the workplace, church, or family that are just not good. Integrity woven with justice should be the priority for any leader. Verse number 13. The king is pleased with words from righteous lips. He loves those who speak honestly. A good leader does desire to have individuals and advisors around him or her that speak what is right and true, regardless if it is not necessarily what they want to hear. As a leader, to have people around you that are willing to speak the truth in love is of great benefit. Verse number 14. The anger of the king is a deadly threat. The wise will try to appease it. While few of us live under a monarch in today's world where we have to be concerned with death for lack of compliance, in our work or other situations, we should be respectful of those in leadership positions. We should always do our best and be wise and prudent in all of our transaction with the leaders that are over us. Verse number 15. When the king smiles, there is life. His favor refreshes like a spring rain. There is an innate desire in all of us to please others, especially those in positions of authority over us. You should strive to do your best for those you are responsible to, and ultimately perform in such a way as if you were doing the task directly for God, because ultimately you are. When you do what pleases those who are in authority, it is refreshing to them and to yourself. Verse number 16. How much better to get wisdom than gold, and good judgment than silver. We all, including myself, would love to have more money and resources. But the older that I get, the more I realize that money and material possessions are of little importance once you have your basic needs covered. How much more valuable are the close relationships with family and friends? We gain what is truly valuable in life by increasing our wisdom and good judgment. When we have that, then we will desire little else in life. The nuggets of wisdom that we gather every Wisdom Wednesday provide us with the stepping stones that we need on our daily trek of life to grow emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Making plans based on God's guidelines while keeping the proper perspective on what really is important will allow us to grow wiser each day. Tomorrow we will hike another short trail of Wisdom Unplugged, where we will uncover an inspirational wisdom quote. So encourage your family and friends to join us, and then come along with us tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, creating a legacy. That will finish our trek for today. Just as you enjoy these daily doses of wisdom, we ask you to help us to grow Wisdom Trek by sharing it with your family and friends through email, Facebook, Twitter, or in person when you meet with them, and invite them to come along with us each day. If you'd like to listen to any of the past episodes of our daily treks, they are available at wisdom-trek.com. And don't forget to subscribe to Wisdom Trek so that each day's trek will be downloaded to you automatically. The journal for today's trek is available at wisdom-trek.com, and I thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor, but most importantly, I am your friend, as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal each day. And as we take this trek of life together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and leave a living legacy each day. This is Guthrie Chamberlain reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and then create a great day every day. See you tomorrow.